Have you heard the story?
Last shall be first.
Have you heard the news? Ruth and Naomi.
It reflects God's glory.
The moral of our tale is 1% true.
Hello, you are listening to the Great Give Radiothon on WNHH-FM. I'm Babs Rawls-Ivy. This is not Love Babs Love Talk. We're devoting 2 days to helping New Haven's great nonprofits raise money through the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven's Communal Great Give fundraiser. Please join in and donate to New Haven's nonprofits by visiting thegreatgive.org and finding these organizations you'd like to support. We would love it if you choose to include this radio station in your giving. We are WNHH Radio. You can find us under WNHH or under Online Journalism Project. Please help us keep nonprofit public interest community journalism alive in New Haven. So in the studio with us now is Jennifer Simpson. She is from the Madison Historical Society.
Hi.
See, you know why I love doing this hosting this? Because I get to learn about all these places that I didn't even know.
Absolutely.
So this is wonderful. So tell us about the Madison Historical Society.
So the Madison Historical Society turned 100 last year.
Oh.
Yep. So we celebrated our centennial. We are the oldest civic organization in Madison. There are other local branches of Rotary, et cetera, but the local organizations in Madison, we're the oldest ones.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yay.
We had a big celebration last year. We put out a centennial book, which has objects from our collection that are, that people generally don't get to see. We did a poster celebrating Madison. We collaborated with local artists, and we did the letters of the alphabet. So every letter represents something specific to Madison.
Cool.
So yeah, that was fun. We did we had a great gala. We did a lot of good things.
Oh, all right. That's nice. So tell me something I don't know about. Give me one interesting, cool fact that you even found interesting and cool that you didn't know prior to doing this work.
Absolutely. So one thing I like to tell people all the time is about Daniel Hand. So our high school is named for Daniel Hand, but most people don't know why it's named for Daniel Hand or who he was. So he grew up in Madison, left as a young man. The interesting fact, I'll say, the interesting fact is he was, in his time, the single largest philanthropic donor to an organization.
Oh.
So he made his money in the South. When the war broke out, he left because he did not sympathize with the South and left. He was actually imprisoned for a period of time in Virginia. But his business partner kept all of his earnings and invested them, and the business continued to grow. And when the war was over, he came up to Daniel Hand at that time was living in Guilford and gave him his portion of the business. Daniel Hand then turned around. He was at the end of his life by this point and gave, I think it was $1.5 million to the to the American.
That time?
And that time that had to
That's
been like
really cool.
ridiculous.
Right?
Well,
I think the equivalent is about $38 to $40 million, but it was for the education of blacks in the South. So I think it was the American.
oh, I had no idea.
Right, that's a good
missionary.
story.
I know. I wish I had the name to hand, but the exact organization. But they have been funding educational grants and stuff, ongoings, and I think that it's still going, that fund. So our high school, he did also give a small amount for the founding of the Academy School in Madison, and so which bears his name, and obviously the high school, the new high school, which was renovated and built within the last 10 years, also bears his name.
I learned something
so
new.
That's some Connecticut Black History
Yes.
There you
facts.
go. But I think it was late 1890s. It was the largest single philanthropic donation by an individual at the time.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
there you go.
So, so why should people support the Madison Historical Society?
We're a small organization. We have 2 part-time staff members, but we're vibrant. We're doing a lot of things in Madison. We do a home tour. We do lecture series. We do educational programming for children. We are 100% supported by memberships and donations. Any grants that we're able to secure. In the current climate, it's been a little harder to get grants. The state funding has dried up for a lot of organizations. So, we just want to keep history alive. We want to, encourage children and young learners to appreciate the town, the history, and if we don't exist, who's going to be doing it? Who's going to be
Right.
preserving these town treasures and
That's
the
true.
stories from the past?
Now, do you
So-
all have a physical space?
We do. We have 2 physical properties. We have one which is called the Alice Bushnell House right on the Post Road, and it's named for the first and last owners of the house before the house was eventually sold to us for $1 in 1918. And then we also own Lee's Academy, which is named for the man who was the founder of Madison, because Madison was originally East Guilford when Guilford was settled in the 1650s, I think it was. We were an extension of Guilford, East Guilford, but we weren't officially formed into an independent town until 1826.
Wow.
So-
All that history.
Yeah, there's a lot of history, which I knew none of it until I moved to Madison 4 years ago. But
So how long have you been with the historical Madison Historical
I
Society?
have been there a little over 3 years. It was 3 years in February.
Wow. So how
Yeah.
did you come to it?
It was, I really shouldn't own up to this, but we moved to Madison from New Haven. We lived in Westville for 13 years. And, we did a lot of work on the house. And I found myself one January sitting around, the children were at school, my husband was at work, and I'm sitting there watching YouTube videos. And I think, I've reached a new low. I need to do something with myself. And so it was luck, that they were looking for a new executive director. I was looking to get connected in the community and not sit around in my pajamas watching YouTube videos anymore. But there is a wonderful video that I watched on. Anyways, that doesn't matter. But
That's a good story,
Right.
though.
anyways, I needed to get out and get
I
connected.
mean, do you have a historical background?
I
Have you
know.
studied history? Like,
No, my background was political science and in international relations. No.
okay,
Some
okay.
history, a little history.
No, not really, not really.
Well, all skill sets are transferable.
You know,
so-
I managed an antique center in Stamford for 12 years. So in terms of having the management skills of running an organization and handling, wearing lots of different hats, I had certainly done that. So kind of moving into the executive director role was kind of a natural thing for me. I had, decent writing skills and, verbal skills, whatever. So I think as long as you present yourself well and you can manage your time and whatnot, then,
See, that's
they were
good.
transferable. They were transferable skills.
Now, do you have a goal, a great give goal for
We
this?
do. So it's a very targeted goal this year. In years past, it was more just, kind of support the organization. And I think, a bunch of us really strongly felt that having a targeted goal is more meaningful. So we were the lucky recipients of a painting in 2005. It's a portrait painted by George Munger. And he was nationally known. He was a landscape artist, grew up in Madison, part of the Munger family of artists. Anyway, it's a portrait of his wife named Parnell Kelsey Munger. Unfortunately,
That is a name.
it is indeed a name. It's a name you have to live up to. It's
Yeah.
not a small name. That's a big name. Parnell Kelsey Munger. Parnell. In any case, the canvas is not in great shape. There are a couple of holes. Her face is in good shape, but there are layers. I mean, this painting was painted in 1820. So there are layers of varnish and dirt and grime. And we just, it's a town treasure to us. And so our goal, we got a restoration quote of $2,200. And I'm happy to say that we're almost halfway there.
Yay!
So we're not quite halfway there, but we're well on the road. We are well on the road. So we're
Wow.
excited. 2,200 is our goal. And as of this morning, I think we had about 890.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you're
you're
making
on your way.
progress.
We are making progress.
Well,
we are
listen,
indeed.
if you are listening this morning to Jennifer Simpson from the Madison Historical Society, they certainly could use your money. And if you feel so inclined to help them secure more funding for restoration of this beautiful painting, then you might want to. How do they find you? How do they look out for you?
We have a website, which is madisonhistory.org. There's a banner right there on the homepage where you can click through to the Great Give. If they go to thegreatgive.org and search Madison Historical Society, it pulls it right up as well.
So how does the community receive y'all?
I think we're well received. Last year, like I said, was our centennial. We did a number of events. We were Grand Marshal of the 4th of July Parade. I'm not sure if you've ever been to the Madison 4th of July Parade. The entire town comes out for this parade. It is a wonderful parade. So, and we were Grand Marshals. We had a big gala last year to celebrate our centennial. It was oversold. We were literally trying to find more tables, and we put people in our auxiliary rooms. We did another event called the Evening in White, where everyone wears white attire. I think it's something that started in France, but it's been embraced by communities all around. And so we had
Where I
beautiful...
come from, they call that the white party. Where we get together and everybody shows up in the white. I think that was like a Puffy thing.
Yes.
Maybe,
A P. Diddy thing that in the early
I don't know
days.
what his name is anymore.
Well,
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Sean Combs.
Actually, there's a man locally who used to do protection for him. I know him from Edgewood School.
See?
Yeah.
There you go.
Separation.
Small world.
It is indeed. It is
Small
indeed.
world.
But we've been very well received by the community. We did all kinds of pop-up exhibits and things, and people, just it's stuff to get people talking, to keep it in their consciousness, who we are, what we're doing. And I would say generally we have been well received.
And where are you from originally?
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Grew up outside of Philly.
So do you feel like Madison is your calling, your place, your...
I do. I feel really comfortable there. I'm really lucky. We found a house that we could afford, and our kids are getting a good education. I can walk the dogs, by the Hammonasset River. We're close to the beach. The kids can ride their bikes to the beach. It's a nice community.
That's good.
Yeah, I feel lucky.
I like that. So the Historical Society is charged with just keeping the history of Madison alive and accessible to
Absolutely.
anybody who
Yep.
who comes.
Yeah, we have, like I said, we have 2 buildings. We have the Alice Bushnell House, which is open a couple times a year for open houses. We actually have an open house coming up in June where we participate in the Connecticut Open House Day, which is when historical societies and museums throw their doors open free of charge and people can come through and tour. So our museum is open then. But, I want people to be excited about history. So anytime someone says, can you open the house? Yeah, meet me over there. Walk on down.
Go get a tour.
I'll meet you over there. So we also have an award-winning exhibit at our administrative office. We have our office upstairs, and down below is our exhibit. It's an exhibit on World War I's, kind of commemorating the centennial of the war. So we were very lucky. We got some grant funding from the state, and that's been well received. It's open every Saturday, April through November.
Okay. Well, this has been wonderful talking to you.
Yep. Thank you.
So, all right, give us your poem.
All right, here's my poem. It's a very Madison-centric poem. It is written by Grace Minor Lippincott, who was born in Cornwall, but grew up in Madison, graduated from Madison High, married, and then stayed in Madison. She lived till the ripe old age of 96.
Wow.
And her poem is from her anthology, Spun from the Sea. She was prolific, this woman. Unfortunately, I don't think we know much about her now, but she had, I think, 10 anthologies, over 1,100 published poems. Yeah, no, she was prolific. So anyway, here's her poem from her book, Spun from the Sea. And the poem is called Tips from the Salt Shaker. If you should live in Madison, a village on the Sound, let me give you a kindly tip before you get around. When settlers came as pioneers whose names old records mention, they intermarried through the years in proper like convention. When you talk to your neighbor friends, they most times are related. Their children keep the village trends and have never mismated. Through Hammonasset over east are Dudleys by the score, with Willards, Dowds, and Chittendens along the central shore. Then Bassett, Bishop, Lee, and Co. that reach to the West Wharf Road. The Smiths parading in a row call Elm Street their abode. They're scattered all about the town, the Mungers, Redfields, Leets, with Wilcoxes both up and down the length of village streets. Then Field and Griswold, Hill and Hull, with Kelsey's, Miggs, and Stevens, and Norton, Stones, and Parmalees near Waitresses and Whedons, while Buell, Crampton, Everett's clan are represented to a man. The Bushnells and the Scranton Guard lived early years in town and called each other yard to yard from doorways up and down. The town has grown and many names are listed in the news, but those of early township fame are locally who's whose.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jennifer.
My pleasure. It's
Thank
a very
you, thank you.
Madison-centric poem.
I love it.
And
I
all of
love
these
it.
names, many of these names, are still prominent names in town.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's why I chose this, because many of the family names, Wilcox, Everett's, they're still
They're still
Scranton,
there.
still in town.
All right, so all y'all heard the shout out of your names. Make your donations. Tell them where they can reach your website again, Jennifer.
MadisonHistory.org.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, Ratasha, we're gonna wind this down for this one, and then we're gonna come back up. We'll get an update on
Yes.
where we are,
Yes, we will.
and then we'll welcome our next guest. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Jennifer.
for coming.
Thank you.